It's great.
All right, well, Dale, you took about half an hour getting a whiskey, so what are you drinking, mate?
It is Four Roses. Have you had that one?
No, but I've heard. Go on, give us a summary.
Ooh. Oh, that's all you need, mate. Ooh.
Fucking hell, they want to get you on the fucking cooking channel, lad. This Four Roses gets 4 oohs from me.
What is it? Like, how many O's that you put on it is how good it actually is. On a scale of to ooh.
No.
Well, we're just talking about that scale of 1 to 10. Then definitely a 10.
Can't be an ooh. You only get an ooh with Thai food.
Oh my God.
You know what, right?
Well,
Let's go here for a second, because I was having this discussion yesterday, right? Kim's a Yorkshire tea person. I'm bagging a Tetley's all day long, me. Are you funny about tea that you drink? Sorry to be really random here for a second. I don't funny about it.
Yeah, I don't drink a lot of it anymore. It's more coffee. But if I do have a brew, not too fussed, to be honest. What Tetley's, Yorkshire, Thai food, whatever they're called, I don't know, whatever.
Don't taste the difference to me. But so I'm the same as you, Dale. But are you now like a coffee snob? Can you tell the difference between like shit and good coffee? Like if someone's offering me a brew, if it tastes like dirt, I'm sorry, it's gone. Like nah. I got one in work the other day, and I would literally just hand it back to him and was like, "That is not a brew. That is shit."
You get given the coffee, and he's like, you just look at the colour of the coffee. He's like, too dark, too light.
Yeah.
Danny's like, I've not had a roast this bad since my last night out in Hyde. Fuck off.
Oh, just leave the hometown alone. It's not. No, it is that bad. It is that bad.
Well, shit, man. R.I.P. Said Irish. You know, when you say something and you don't even think about what you've said. Like, I mean, how many families are just disgusted with me right now?
I thought you was going to transition there into me going watching Hyde United, and you pop up with R.I.P. Harold Shipman.
How was Hyde United, Danny? You went down to Hyde this week to watch a game.
Oh, they made a killing.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
I heard the opposition smothered possession.
Oh, Jesus, we're getting cancelled. No, it was... Well, Lee and Josh aren't here, and it just descends into chaos. No, Hyde was quality, mate. I really enjoyed it. Again, like similar to what the boys said the other week when they went and watched Witten. Nice to see fans in a stadium. Nice to hear authentic crowd noise.
Yeah.
I mean, there was only 300 people there, but it made a difference. The football quality was decent. I wouldn't say it was outstanding, and maybe this is where I struggle with lower league a bit more because I've watched Stockport County a lot more, and there's a very, very big difference between what I watched at Hyde versus County, and then obviously going up the levels to what we've watched. But I would not discourage anyone from going again. Like, I thought, really good day out. The ticket was a tenner, so similar to what they paid for Witten. It was a brew. I didn't buy a pint. It was a brew because it was bleeding freezing.
Yeah, it was fucking cold.
Like, I barely took my hand out of my pockets all night. But yeah, 1-1 draw against Lancaster City. Hyde were down to 10 men for the last 35 minutes. Don't know what the ref saw. I think it was an elbow he thought he'd saw. It definitely wasn't. It's class though, being pitch side and listening to the shouts and listening to what the players are actually saying. Fully enjoyed myself, yeah. I would say I'd do it again. but I can't for at least a month now.
How have they dealt with COVID and all that?
Quite good. Hand sanitizers at the doors, making sure everyone was distancing, markings on the floor, constant reminders on the tannoys, keep your distance, only be with people in your bubble, use the sanitizers that are provided. You can't do much more than that, really.
No.
In a stadium that small with limited people there, in terms of security, you can't force people to social distance. You've kind of got to leave them to it. But the measures were definitely there and in place. And people were observing it. There was a lot of people with masks on as well, to be fair. I think because we went on Tuesday, which was after the new lockdown announcement, I think a lot of people were still wary. So some people were wearing masks, which it's nice to see. Like, it was a bit comforting for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, they seem to have dealt with it really well, and it's a shame because it's going to hit them hard again, having no football now in that league.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Go on, Dale.
I was going to say, I mean, I know they said they're keeping the elite sports, but how sort of lower levels have they now like banned? Is it stopped? Is it
conference north, south, like below that level?
Below that level, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that's the level that they've had to stop.
I think it is up to tier 6, isn't it? So tier 6 is the lowest tier that gets to play still.
Which is interesting because that's the tiers that coincide with fans being in a stadium and not. Like, anything above that isn't allowed fans in the stadium.
No.
Anything below that can, and that's the one that's finishing. So it's a strange one. We don't want to get political and talk about this shit too much often, but we did have a small win today, boys, with pay-per-view being scrapped.
Get the fuck in.
Get the fuck in.
Get the fuck in. You're daft.
I mean, who came up with that idea in the first place?
I'd love to know. And I'd love to know how long.
Honest.
I'd love to know how long it's been in the pipeline as well for. I'd love to know how long they've been thinking about it. Because you're not telling me they made it up on a weekend.
No, it's tone deaf. It's absolutely tone deaf. I tell you now, they've been buttering us up since they brought football back at the end of last season, saying, we're going to wear all the games and all this and all that. And they've been buttering us up thinking, we'll get them all sort of hooked, invested. How good football is when you can watch it like all day, every day and everything, and then bang $14.95. And they thought that we'd carry on paying it. And I guarantee, we've had a couple of fun ones, haven't we? With, what's my guy called on Twitter? The Everton fan. Kim Fitch.
Kim Fitch, yeah.
Yeah, him with his comment about bleeding that West Brom game at some point, only having 79 viewers in the mainstream media picking it up and stuff. But I tell you what, I bet he's not far off.
No.
I bet he's not far off. Apparently, they said it was, when the official numbers came out, some of the media sources then got hold of it after the fact and said it was less than 1,000, which is abysmal.
What, for all the games?
No, I think just for that one game. I don't think I'd be surprised. I mean, what games have been on pay-per-view so far? So West Brom and Burnley, I think, was one, wasn't it?
United, Newcastle. Leeds, Leicester. Not Leeds, Leicester. Leeds, Villa.
Yeah, was it Sunday? Was it Spurs and who was it? Spurs played Sunday. Sunday night was at 8 o'clock. I think that was a pay-per-view one.
Yes, they were. Yeah. Brighton was it
again? Was that going to be Burnley 1-0? There's not really been like a big game on pay-per-view, has there? It's been like the little straggly ones here and there, but
United Newcastle was probably the biggest one.
I'd argue so, yeah. And I mean, do you think that got more than 1,000? Big fan bases.
Well, it is big fan bases. Yeah. I know the Newcastle fans did really well in terms of rejecting it and donating money to local food banks instead.
Liverpool did the same as well, fair play to them.
Yeah, can I see over 1,000 tone-deaf United fans putting money into their pocket? Probably did do over 1,000, but it probably was nowhere near the numbers they were expecting it to be.
Our London contingent. That's the shit that we get all the time. All your fans are down south. All your fans are down south. Well, you're in Stockport, and I'm in North Wales. Fuck off, stereotypes. But that is probably the biggest game, isn't it? And yeah, I bet that got I mean, if you're talking maxes, probably maybe a couple of thousand.
I was going to say max 5K.
Not the numbers that they thought they were going to see. Otherwise, you wouldn't have bothered scrapping it. If they were making any money from it, they wouldn't have scrapped it. And they'll put across this narrative now, like they've done it for the fans. And, we just didn't realise, like, how tone deaf it came across. And I said, well, bollocks, we've all just not paid for it. That's what's happened.
They'll never, ever accept responsibility and accountability for it. They will. That's exactly what they'll come out with. The press release will be, we've done this for the fans. We've listened to feedback is the exact words that they will use.
That old chestnut.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're going to keep the campaign going because regardless of whether they're taking it away now and they're going to air those games for free or whether they're just going to put them behind that 3 p.m. watershed and all that bollocks, they've shown how greedy they are. The relevant footballing bodies. Your money is best spent elsewhere. It's best spent elsewhere. And I've struggled then. One beer, So keep it up. Like, if anyone has been listening to podcasts, we've certainly been trying. I've not been because I've been in a Welsh lockdown, so I apologise. I promise I'm not a hypocrite. Been in lockdown, and do you know the Welsh leagues around here don't kick off? So you've got the Welsh Premier League, haven't you? Which is called something now, the Cymru Premier or something. But then the tier below that is where Buckley, because I live in Buckley in North Wales. The tier below that is where Buckley is. So Buckley are in like the North version of it. It's a bit like a conference, North and South. Their games aren't kicking off, they reckon, until next year, early next year. It's been delayed for that long.
What have they started the season?
I think the Welsh Premier have. Yeah, the Welsh Premier have been playing.
Well, the one below haven't.
No, yeah, they've not let the one below do it.
I mean, do you know of any teams that have gone sort of bust during all this in the Welsh League, or because I mean, it's not as well advertised as the Premier League and the money that comes in for that and what gets dished out to the lowers, the lower teams and leagues. I mean, surely this would have impacted more on the sort of the Welsh FA and the Welsh leagues more than say the English FA and the money we bring in, or the Premier League anyway.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think everyone's bleeding struggled no matter which jurisdiction you fall under. The Welsh Premier, they're in a better position now than they were a few years back because there's a bit more mainstream sponsorship in the Welsh Premier now. There's a bit more attention there. Like, you've only got to look at the chief sponsor. The chief sponsor for the Welsh leagues now is JD Sports. Because, it's not exactly a small brand. They've started getting a little bit more attention and trying to sort of rebrand it and everything to get a bit more interest in it. But a lot of the clubs are tiny. I mean, you've got TNS, which are the most successful Welsh team. If anyone knows anything or cares about Welsh football, TNS are the most successful Welsh team of all time in terms of like Welsh trophies that they won, Welsh leagues, etc. And then it kind of falls off after that. There's not really an awful lot of talent in the Welsh leagues. It's just difficult in it because it's a bit like the international team. The international team's done really, really well recently, but that's because they're getting a lot of talent from players who've drifted over into the English leagues. And you're starting to see it now, like you get a couple of anomalies like they've got at the moment with the likes of Aaron Ramsey and Gareth Bale and Premier League sort of stalwarts like that, but the standard's never ever been great. I mean, there's a lad, I can't remember what his name was. He's the record goal scorer. Reading about him the other day, he's a record goal scorer in the Welsh League. He scored absolutely hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of goals in the Welsh League. Ridiculous striking record. The highest he ever got internationally was a Welsh B team. Just wasn't good enough.
Nice.
Had a couple of stints. I can't remember. I'll see if I can search for him again. I'll find his name in a bit so everyone knows his name. You can have a look at him. Like in the Welsh Premier League, his statistics are insane. Like I'll get him up in a bit. But every time he tried to come over to England in the lower sort of tier leagues, like conference level and all the rest of it, he just never got going. It just shows you the difference in the level. Even there, do you know what I mean? Like that's their Premier League. And you can only imagine, like a few years ago. Up until about a few years ago, they still had open invitations to all the Welsh teams to like go into like their version of the Welsh FA Cup. Like Cardiff and Swansea and teams like that. And Could you imagine if Cardiff and Swansea went into their league?
There'd be no point, would there?
No. The standards it's a complete lopside. Like the standards just night and day. That's a waffle on about anyway, Dale. The honest answer is I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure they are all struggling, and especially the teams in the North and the South leagues who just can't play at the moment because it's been deemed that it's not safe for them for whatever reason.
It's a shitter. Like I've had my 6-a-side league finished again. Lee, I know, was getting back into rugby and his season's wiped out, which is just shit.
Yeah.
Like we use sport and health and fitness as a way not only to, prolong our lives and to keep ourselves healthy, but as a mental check as well. Like I felt nothing better than sometimes than having a shit week and then going to 6-a-side on a Sunday, win, lose or draw. I've gone and ran about for 50 minutes, taken my anger out on football, screamed at a few players, and come back feeling such like a better person.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame that these like I take the players at Hyde, for example, like they're part-time players. Like they have had football stripped from them now. Like a lot of kids at that team when I was at Hyde, by the way, very, very young lineup. Probably come through the academy. I was part of that academy at one point in my life. A very productive academy line there. So they've brought in a lot of them youngsters in, and they've now had football taken from them. And because they're only part-time, means they've got part-time work. I bet a lot of them are back on furlough now as well. So Tuesday, they've gone from playing in front of 300 people and really just striving for this future. Wednesday, going to work. Thursday, fuck all. Shite. Absolute shite.
Well, you were scrap first, Dale, weren't you? Because I know it's not football, but obviously you're basketballer. You play basketball, and they just decided to put a fucking clamp down in Tier 3 on indoor fucking team sports.
Oh, mate, I've not played since March.
Oh.
So that's when it first stopped. Was in March, and there was, I think the elite level. I think Basketball England allowed the elite level basketball to continue. I think sort of August time, but sort of the recreational sort of stuff had to wait. And I think we were due to, my first sort of game back was the 24th of September, I think it was. And Boris came out with that announcement on Tuesday, the 22nd, saying all indoor sports and stuff they're scrapped, whatever it was, as of that Thursday. So that's put,
And you know what? It's so shit as well and stupid because you're not allowed indoor sports with basketball where it is limited people inside a space. Yet I've been allowed to play at Power League in Manchester on a Wednesday night with 5 people on each team on the pitch, 2 people on each team outside the pitch, and I've crossed paths with hundreds of people to get to the pitch in the first place because there's 12 pitches up there and literally the narrowest of hallways to get in between people. None of it makes sense. Literally none of it makes sense.
No. I mean, even now, I took up sort of golf in the meantime. Yeah. Even that's up the shitter as well now. I mean,
oh my God.
They've just closed that now for 4 weeks. Well, at least 4 weeks. He says it's 4 weeks, doesn't he? But realistically, what you say next year probably.
On what planet can you not play golf?
Let's segue to something else that doesn't make sense, boys, because we don't want to make this a political podcast.
Oh, here we go.
Now, I could go a few avenues here, but let's just get it out of the way now. What the fuck is happening at Manchester United?
Not defensive drills, I'll tell you that now. Fucking hell, we said in the group last night, we said last night, didn't we, like, me, you and Lee got into it, like, and it got a bit heated. Like
me and you definitely got into it, yeah.
Yeah, like we always do. And you even said, people must think we just don't fucking get on. Me and Danny love each other, it's fine, it's all good. Yeah. People can, listen, learn a lesson, folks. People can have a difference of opinion and still be mates. not an awful lot of that in the world at the moment. But I think we're all agreed something is just not right at the club, and some people think the manager should take most of the blame, which I completely understand. I'm more of the opinion, which I think it's a mixed bag. I think you've got to blame the players, you've got to blame the manager, and you've got to blame everything that's going on at that football club at the moment behind the scenes. The frustrating thing being a United fan, and I won't waffle on too much because I've already waffled on about fucking history of the Welsh Premier League, so no one wants to listen to me talk anymore. But I'll pass over to you in a second. But I think the thing for me is it's upsetting as a United fan because we've been very blessed, especially us for when we were born, 1990, 1991. We've had nothing but success from then all the way to 2013. And now we've had 7 years of shit. And there's just been absolutely no consistency. Like, on our day, we can beat anyone in the world. And then the next week, we're drawing 0-0 in a boring game with Chelsea. We're losing to, and I don't care what people say in the media, a shite bang average Arsenal team who will prove again this weekend how bang average they are. And getting played off the park by a Turkish side who Turkey have not produced a decent team since Galatasaray in the 90s, maybe. So that's a depressing thing for me. I just don't know when this is going to end, this misery.
I don't think it does end. If I'm being honest, I don't think it does end. We've said this before. For people that are listening that are wondering why me and Chris actually hate each other, Chris is very much of the opinion of managers shouldn't be sacked, which I get. Like the problem runs a lot deeper in this club. Like it starts from the board all the way down. I'm under the opinion of the manager should be sacked. Partially no fault of his own. Partially because what he does on a match day just isn't good enough for me anymore. I can't sit and watch a manager not make a change for 70 minutes when something's not working. Like for me, that's just not that. The Arsenal game for me, forget Turkey. The Arsenal game was the final straw for me. How can you wait until the 70th minute before you decided to make a change when we were fucking abysmal? Like worse than the Chelsea game. But I will rein it back in. OLE has been dealt a shit hand with the board he's been given. He was thrown into a situation as a temporary manager. Yes, he earned his contract. Yes, he earned to stay from what he did last season. But I personally think the time has come, or I think at least the time is on the clock now. Like it's going to happen. I think Pochettino passed his TV interview on Sky Sports on Monday. I think that was his reintroduction back into English football. He passed it with flying colours. He said all the right things. The timing for me just seems too perfect. Whereas Pochettino been all these months, he could have been on. Jose, when he got let go from United, was back on Sky Sports after like 3 weeks. Like he was there and didn't take the Spurs job for ages. Poch has been sat waiting and waiting and waiting. And now we're in a shit run of form under a manager that, let's be honest, he was a panic appointment. It was given on merit, but I don't think Solskjaer was ever our first choice. I think everyone can admit that. There was no master plan where Ole Solskjaer was going to be Manchester United manager. And now the shit has truly hit the fan. Pochettino's come out of the woodworks. He's done his interview with Sky Sports. He's done a few interviews with newspapers. He's written in the stars for a loss against Everton on Sunday, which we'll talk about in a minute, a international break, a managerial sack, and a new manager coming in right after the international break.
What do you think, Dale?
Well, I was a bit after the Arsenal game. I was quite frustrated, a bit disappointed, angry, and then I'm to be honest, I didn't watch it last night. I'm glad I didn't. Caught the highlights, but I'm just I go back to probably the start of the year when we got beat at home to Burnley. I think it was 2-0, and at that point I felt something had to change. I felt we were just going drastically downhill, And to his credit, he did pick it up. But I've now got to that point again after the last couple of results. He did get a couple of decent results against Newcastle away, PSG away, Leipzig at home. I mean, I don't know if they were a fluke. Looking back at it now, I think Lee and Danny might have mentioned that in the group chat. Actually, some of these, results probably were a fluke. But I've kind of given up with him. And I do agree with you, Chris. I do think it's a mixed bag of stuff as well. I do think it is partly the board, the players. I mean, some of them players there. Harry Maguire was not this shit at Leicester.
No.
Paul Pogba was not this shit at Juve. Rashford at times is brilliant, but he's too inconsistent. The list goes on. The list goes on. I mean, Ollie, if rumour has it that he had 4 targets in the summer and we didn't get any of them, if he would have got them, to be honest, I probably won't be talking about this. They would have improved the players we've got. But he didn't, and we go back to when Jose was in charge, same situation. Didn't get his targets in the summer. By Christmas, he was gone. And I think that's the case with Ollie. I think Saturday we're playing into Everton. I think that's a massive, massive game. And not necessarily the result, but the performance. If we don't get either, we don't get both. I do think he's gone, and I've just had enough of him. I've had enough of watching just utter shite. But the thing is that we've got the players there to do miles better, and it's a case of, does he know how to manage these players? Can he take these players sort of to that next level? Can he manage these elite players? And you look at the players he has managed in the past. Mould and Cardiff. It's different gravy now. But I just don't think he's ready to take that jump up to that level with these players. But will Pochettino do that? If he does come in, I think so.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because when Moyes started at Old Trafford, everything looked all right. And then it started to peter around to shit, and the players looked uninterested, and it just looked fractured behind the scenes. Van Gaal comes in, things pick up again, and then it ends up exactly the same. Things fractured behind the scenes, players look disinterested. Jose, exactly the same again, lost everyone at the end. Solskjaer comes in, club legend. We had that fantastic run. Then it starts to look fractured behind the scenes again. Players look disinterested. The lockdown helped us massively. I think we were the biggest benefactors of that lockdown. I really do. We came back after the lockdown, and bar a couple of dodgy games. West Ham, I remember being particularly poor when Pogba gave away that penalty for handball. Yeah, he was having Mikel Antonio rip the piss out of him. Couple of dodgy games, and then obviously the semi-finals we come unstuck. But we did incredibly well to come back from the position that we were in to get third place. And then we've had a summer of just absolute fucking dog shit. We've had our name, we've had the board, we've had the manager, we've had the players dragged for the mire. We've come back, a couple of shit results. It's picked up as the fitness has come back, and we're looking at the same performances and the same body language again that you saw in Jose's last games, in Van Gaal's last games, in Moyes' last games. There's just something not going right. I agree with you, Ollie. I don't think he's a body manager. Go on, Danny. What are you saying?
Do you think he's lost the dressing room? Because for me, the way we played against Arsenal, against Istanbul last night, is a performance of a team that have lost faith in the manager. And like you said, we've seen it. We've seen this cycle 4 times now. And this is what we were arguing about last night. So I get every single point that you were saying last night, that it can't have been Moyes, Van Gaal, Jose and Ollie's fault. It's not all of their faults. Is our squad just average? Are we just an average football team? Like, we have to start asking this question now. Like you said, they had a fucking 35-year-old Demba Ba up front last night. And Raphael, who we let go. I mean, let's be honest, we should have never let him go. Raphael was fucking brilliant even when we let him go.
He's a good player, Raphael. He always was a good servant to United.
He loved the club. Ollie had this thing when he first came in, and me and my mate spoke about this. It was like when we signed Igalo. He was bringing players that wanted to play for Man United. When Fergie was in charge, he had a team that wanted to play for Man United. They knew what the badge and the shirt meant. Roy Keane said it on Sky Sports the other day. Even in an empty stadium, he still fucking loves going to Old Trafford. It's still a majestic place. I don't think the starting 11 anymore cares that they play for Man United. I think they care that they're footballers. I think they care that they're getting the money. But in terms of the shirt that they're wearing, I don't think they're interested anymore. I think they're just...
There's no passion.
No, there isn't any passion, no. You're watching players like Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is probably the best example for it, actually. Because he just doesn't give a fuck. He's waiting for a move. If it wasn't for the fact that COVID hit, he would have been back at Juve. I think that's pretty clear. The rumours were there all summer and even before the summer. Before COVID, he was going back to Juve. And I don't think he's asked. I think he's just waiting. But then that is where my issue lies with Ollie, because he keeps on going back to him. He keeps on going back to him rather than using Donny van der Beek, who, let's be honest, lads, has been fucking brilliant since he's played. Whenever he plays, that's when we look our best.
You know, there's a few people, I've spoken to a few people who've been on Van der Beek's case. Like, Brad's one of them. We went to college with Dale. He's not the biggest fan of Van der Beek. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You know, I use Brad because he listens to the podcast and stuff, so he'll appreciate a shout out, hopefully. And he's a big United fan, I know. And he watches United all the time, and he's got a better opinion and a better chance of saying what's right than what's wrong. But there's a lot of people that have been hard on Van der Beek and stuff. But the thing about Van der Beek is he is playing a style of football that a lot of them are just not up to speed with. Pogba takes too much time on the ball. He really does. Fred has been fantastic this season. He's been one of our best players, but sometimes he takes too much time on the ball. McTominay, he played again. He played again last week, and he had a fantastic performance. But there was just times when he was just dilly-dallying, and you don't need to be doing it. The thing about Van der Beek is it's in and it's out. It's two-touch at its finest. Danny, you've played football for years. You play football more than I play football, and I grew up playing it. How many times, first drill that you used to do on your Tuesday, your Thursday night, you used to go training, two-touch. Small square, two-touch, go. Yeah. The whole thing about football is the ball moves faster. You used to say it in the podcast before. The ball moves faster than the man. Give and go, give and go, give and go, give and go. Van der Beek's fantastic at it because he's come from that Ajax academy where you just play that style of football. It's just drilled into the total football. The more I think about it now, the more I think he was brought in to replace Pogba. I think Pogba's wrong. To say that you want to go to Real Madrid as well is your dream move is just... Scholes wouldn't have said that when he played for United. Evra wouldn't have. Ferdinand wouldn't have.
I think the only person who said that was Ronaldo. And we give Ronaldo a pass for that because Ronaldo stayed longer for us and we honoured his move because of it.
Exactly.
And also, Ronaldo won a fucking Ballon d'Or while playing for us. Paul Pogba's had about 6 good games in the last 3 years.
We said it in the group before. I said the last good game I can remember Pogba having was Watford last season.
Yeah.
Before that, it was Leicester years ago when we were in Munich.
A
few years ago.
And he had a half decent game in the derby when we won 3-2 when he scored 2. But the real star of that show was Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, tell a lie. That was a great game for Pogba.
Yeah, the thing that about Van der Beek, just going back there before we get for the halftime break, he reminds me a lot of Juan Mata. When Juan Mata came to United, he played that exact same football because he doesn't have the legs for it, Mata, and he still doesn't now because obviously he's aged. But it's get the ball, touch, go, find more space. You look at Van der Beek, he's not looking for a pass. He's looking for his next position. Every time he's got the ball, he's looking for his next position. And then I'm just going to end on this. Bruno yesterday gave the ball away 34 times.
When was the last time?
Not off.
When was the last time Bruno had a good game?
Well, probably before lockdown.
We can't be too hard on Bruno because he got us to third. Let's face it, he pretty much single-handedly got us to third last season.
Oh no, yeah, no doubt in that. But when it looks like a player might need a bit of a break or a bit of a rest, it's going to have to happen. And this is where I think Van der Beek might need, step in, maybe for a game or two, just to give sort of Bruno maybe a kick up the arse and go, look, your performances haven't been up to scratch since we come back.
I think he was good against PSG because he was given the armband and he was given that responsibility. But apart from that, I'm with you. I can't remember his last good game.
Regardless, big one for Ola this weekend. Has to win. Must win game. Are we drinking?
I have moved to Golden Champion by Badger. Dorset Brewers.
We're still on that whiskey, mate. Oof.
4 Roses. I am on Old Faithful Jaipur.
Oh, I had them. What was them? Erdinger. May have bought myself a little bit of Coke. Oktoberfest. Rewind. Oof.
Stop it.
I remember when I was in a German bar when I was in China with my ex-girlfriend over there, and absolutely blew her mind when I ordered an Erdinger and Coke. And she was like, what the... I was like, wait. No judgments. Wait.
That went to a better place than I thought it was, because I thought you were going to say, I went to a German bar in China with my ex-girlfriend and I blew her. And I was going to be like, well, I've got a series of questions here.
I'm staying out of this. It's not worth it.
My first question was going to be, was your ex-girlfriend Thai?
In China, no, surprisingly not.
Before we move on, lads, we get back to Slayton United, shittest team in the world. That player in Wales, Mark Lloyd Williams, his name was.
Okay. I want to hear some statistics.
Honestly, it'll blow your mind this, right? So he started his career in 1992 at Portsmouth. Had a couple of spells, or had one spell there and then a spell at Bangor. Went to Stockport County once upon a time.
Probably has.
So this is the point I'm trying to make. So at Bangor City in 94-95 season, he scored 21 in 29. Went to County, scored 1 in 18. I mean, it just shows you their standard. Had another stint at Bangor a few years later, scored 31 in 58, which is a great record. Went to Halifax Town, scored 6 in 24. You know what I mean? Like, so he was like that his whole career. The best one is this. Went back to Bangor Town for a third time in 2000. Between 2000 and 2002, he scored 68 in 55.
Yeah.
Unreal. Played for TNS 2004-2006, 60 in 67. Mad stats those, aren't they? Never made the Welsh squad. Don't even think he came close. Wales B squad was the highest he got. Just shows you the standard of the league, doesn't it?
It's crazy that is actually crazy how different, or maybe not how different, just how lower the standard must be over there.
If I was to speculate, I mean, I think when you went to see Hyde the other night, I think if you put Hyde in the Welsh Premier League, they would probably be challenging, I'd imagine.
That just says a lot about the league.
And listen, there's some good players in the world. I'm not slagging any players off at all who play in the Welsh Premier League. If you play in the Welsh Premier League, you're playing football to a very high standard.
It's better football than I am.
Exactly. It's more to show you the levels between, well, that and the conference, where people think that the level of football is crap anywhere below the Football League. Well, it's not. Trust me. These lads are good. They're very, very good.
No. special shout out to Stockport County last night, who, for some reason, had to replay their FA Cup fourth qualifying game against Chesterfield because they fielded an eligible player and won the game. And the FA decided, during COVID times, by the way, where you could avoid more travel and more mixing of people, instead of following the actual rules and giving Stockport the bye and disqualifying Chesterfield, to replay the game. But it don't matter, because County won 4-0. Up the fucking Hatters. Unreal. I know they've got the away day to Rochdale on Saturday in the first round of the FA Cup proper.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that the first round now that they're in? But
It is, mate, yeah. Quality.
How long's that been since they've made the proper...
It's been a while. It's been a while. And I tell you what, they will go and challenge Rochdale. They really will go and challenge Rochdale. They, I watched them play each other in pre-season. County's pre-season was really weird because of the way the Football League was working. They had to play all of the higher league teams first and then drop down to like their level. Whereas normally you start off with the shitters and then work your way up, don't you?
Yeah.
And Rochdale only beat them 2-0, I think it was. But County gave them a really good game. And County flying high in the league. It could be an interesting one. It could be a really interesting game, that. I won't be surprised if County went and got a result.
Financially, it'd be massive for them. Well, you forget sometimes the fans. I was about to say financially, it'd be massive for them if they beat Rochdale and got to the second round. But is it?
Well,
the fans and stadiums.
It's being streamed on iFollow, and Rochdale is splitting it 50-50 with County, which is good. So still, there is going to be some income coming in from it.
Shit, innit? 40 for 15, folks. Put your money where, or put your money into channels where the teams actually need it, rather than massive conglomerates bleeding Premier League and all that.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something that we touched upon before. But if the worst was to happen this weekend and Everton beat us, I think it's pretty certain that Ollie's gone, innit? Especially with the international break, a couple of weeks to mull it over for the board. Is Pochettino the man? Is he the man to step in? And I'm not going to, I could be here for hours giving my opinion. I'm going to let you guys just ramble on this one and then I'll sort of cut in where necessary. Is Poch the one that's going to get us back to the top?
I would say yes, purely by the fact that there's no one else either out there at the moment.
That was going to be my exact answer. I think. Do I think Pochettino will turn us into a title winner? No. Is he the best available option? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at his work that he's done with his last two clubs. You know, Southampton. He brought. You know, they were a solid. I think they were top six for a couple of straight seasons, or around about there. To top six, top eight. Obviously, worked his magic and got himself the job at Spurs. You know, where I think when he took over, I think Spurs had maybe not finished above Arsenal for God knows how many years, and you know he turned that around pretty quick. He got them sort of top two, top three for a couple of straight seasons. You know, Champions League final. You know, yeah, he's not necessarily won the trophies, but you can't say he's not been sort of kind of successful in what he's done at the, you know, especially at those two clubs anyway. But yeah, I mean, in terms of what's out there at the moment, Poch is probably by far a higher calibre of manager that we should probably have.
Yeah, I think I agree completely. Like I said, worked his magic at Southampton. And that point you just made there is a really interesting one where Arsenal always finished above Spurs. I think since Pochettino took over and now has obviously left, Arsenal haven't finished above Spurs in that time period. Which, yeah, I could talk about Arsenal's decline, but Arsenal's decline doesn't also happen without Spurs going up. Like, the two can go hand in hand. And we've seen that. Like you said, Spurs got to the Champions League final. Whether we agree with his decisions in the Champions League final for starting Kane over Lucas, that is another conversation for another day. I just think he is a team builder. He's a man manager. I think he would get more out of them players than Ollie is. I think he's not going to be scared of dropping anyone. I think if someone's not performing, I think he is just going to tell them to, book your ideas up or get out of the club. I think someone said it in one of my chats today, United are now a project. Like, we've gone from being the top club in the world, we're now a rebuild project. Exactly what Spurs was, exactly what Southampton was. It's the Pochettino special. He is the manager to come in and rebuild again. I think out of the managers that are available, who's the next best one? Allegri? Do we care?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think he's works in the Italian league anyway, isn't it? Or the Italian national team. Different brand of football, that completely in it over there and what it is here. I think, but we POCH as well. Say we had that result yesterday. I couldn't see Ollie at full time pointing the finger. You were shit. That was a shambles. That was embarrassing. I
was going to ask you that question. Could you imagine that first goal, Ollie going into the dressing room and lambasting them?
It won't happen. It won't happen. He'll, he's too nice. He's too soft. He'll put his arm, around your shoulder and say, "Don't worry, mate. Don't worry, Harry.
Chin up, our kid."
But I can see Poch. If Poch was there, he'd be completely different. He'll probably lay it straight. Like I say, he probably won't be scared to drop anyone.
Yeah.
Don't give a fuck what the board says. He's doing shit. Fuck off. Get someone else in. It's probably one of my other negatives for Ollie. Like I say, I just don't think he's got that bit of ruthlessness to him.
What would have been great for Ollie is if he brought Keane in as part of his coaching team.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. You don't want people to fucking be assaulted, do you?
No, but Keane lacks what Ollie hasn't got.
He'll strike a bit of fear into the players. Which,
I don't think the players are scared of Michael Carrick. Like, if you look at Ollie's coaching team, you've got Ollie, who even when pissed off is still smiling. Like, we saw him lose against Arsenal and he was smiling at full time. You've got Thingy McKenna, who was the youth team coach. Doesn't look like he could fucking shout at anyone. Carrick, who played with half the squad, so they probably still see him as a mate rather than a coach. And then Mike Phelan, who's about 164 years old. He was there when Bobby Charlton was playing for United. Like, there's no one in that coaching lineup that would tell me they have bollocked that defence for that first and second goal. Let's be honest, the second goal was horrific.
Yeah,
Bruno's pass to Mata was awful. How Mata was expected to try and deal with that was atrocious. And then, Mata lost it, maybe a bit too easily, but I'm not going to criticise him too much because he was put in a shit situation there. But the defensive positional awareness, I can't not going mad for it.
There's no leaders, players or staff. Like we go back to the Keane era. You cock up, he's laying into you. And then when he went, we had Vidic. He was an absolute rock. He wouldn't take shit either. And then when he wasn't available, Evra, you can see how passionate Evra is on Sky Sports. You could see that probably going to be exactly the same when he was in the dressing rooms after a 3-0 loss to an absolute shite team or whatever. But and then obviously you had Fergie back in the day. But you look at the team now and the staff, and it's like who's taken on that responsibility? I know Maguire's a captain, but to me, it doesn't seem like he'd be one of those that you did something wrong or put a foot wrong, he'll be down your throat.
Maguire is the captain, but he's not a captain.
Mm-hmm.
No, and when we've said that before, it must sound like we're slagging off Maguire. I think Maguire's a top class defender. I really do. Maguire's a fantastic defender. But there's two things with Maguire. You're only as good as the players around you, and the defence is just all over the place at the moment. I mean, I think I think it's bad that we don't know what our best defence is. Do you know what I mean? And we've tried Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire, and Wan-Bissaka, and I'm sorry, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
He's had like 2.5, 3 years.
Can only guess
and he still doesn't know.
I can only guess recruitment, lads. If I could guess, all the rumours were that he wanted Upamecano over the summer, and it's not happened. He's not been able to get him, and I think Upamecano was available for, was it 45 million? His clause was, or something around that mark. And we've not gone out and got him, which he's going to come back to bite us, right? Someone's going to pay that clause, and someone's going to get a top class defender. But that's by the by. Like, we're talking about players that aren't playing for United. The other thing about Maguire is, I think he's had a bit of a rough summer. He's low on confidence, and I don't think he has the greatest captain's attributes anyway. Like, when the going gets tough, Maguire is a feel sorry for himself character. We don't need someone who feels sorry for themselves. Juventus 99, we went 2-0 down in 11 minutes. Filippo Inzaghi twice. Yeah. Roy Keane did not feel sorry for himself. Produced one of the best performances from any United player in any game, let alone a captain's performance. And it was, everything he did that game was perfect in terms of how he rallied the boys, pulled a fucking goal back for us, fucking got booked for the cause and sacrificed his place in the final. He was everywhere that night. He was all over the place. And you're talking about a team of superstars in Juventus. They had Zidane, they had Davids, they had Inzaghi, they had fucking player after player after player, just top class. And we were not supposed to win that semi-final from 2-0 down, and we managed to fucking do it. We managed to do it and beat her in their own backyard. That's a captain's performance. Maguire, I've never seen do that. When the goings got tough, I've never seen him produce that. But the problem is, just, who else is there? There's no one else that I can think of who would do that for United. We just don't have those characters in the dressing room.
I have such a golden segue there with you talking about Juve 99 and their manager at the time, Carlo Ancelotti, managing the team who could put the final nail in Ollie's coffin this weekend. We need to move on, lads. Everton. The boys that were playing, the early leaders that seem to have just completely fallen off a cliff. What the fuck is going on?
We said last week, didn't we? Listen, no one was expecting Everton to win the league, but you take a couple of players out because of injuries and suspensions, and it gets difficult.
Yeah,
that's as far as it goes for me. What do you think, Dale?
Yeah, I think part of that as well. I also think the league is now catching up with itself, and I think the results are now starting to balance out, not just for Everton, but for the whole league. I think everyone's sort of had their pre-season now, and I think we're going to start. Well, I think we have started to see none of this 7-2 business. You know, we're starting to get quite a few sort of closer games, or results going the way that they should be. But I still think Everton are still playing, you know, great football. Yeah, they're missing a couple of key players, but I still think it'll be a tough game. I think Everton will probably nick it anyway, you know, at their place. I think they're just playing the better football than we have. They've probably got a bit more confidence than what we have. Just a shame Josh is not on the podcast tonight, but I'm sure he'd have quite a bit to say. But
I'm sure he predicts a 1-1.
He's what, sorry?
I'm sure he predicts a 1-1 draw.
Yeah.
Joking. He'd be like, it's 1-0 United. We've drawn the last few, haven't we? We've drawn the last few, but the X factor for me this weekend is we are backs to the wall, low on confidence, and it's going to go one way or the other. It's either going to be that we've been in this position a few times with Ollie and we produce a fantastic performance which gets us out of the mire and buys him a bit of time, or Rodriguez and Digne are back, I believe, for this game, and that is not going to be good news for us.
No. I think win, lose or draw, if the performance is poor, I still think Ollie's gone. I think he got the vote of confidence today. That notification, we all got it from Sky Sports today. The board back it. We've been here many times with many clubs. When the board comes out and makes a statement like that, it means you are on your way out. We all know it.
We didn't even get that.
No.
We got the board getting pissed off, and they've sent Poch a voicemail saying, "Yeah, mate, you've not got any plans in the next few months, have you?"
I think win, lose or draw, that we could be very well looking at Ollie's last game on Saturday, no matter what. What are we thinking? Score predictions, boys.
Oh.
Do you know what? If what you've just said, Chris, is true, and James and Ignir are back, and the start and the fully fit, and I know, well, he got banned anyway, so he should be, he's not injured, is he? And we went there a couple of years ago and got stuffed 4-0. I won't be surprised if there was a similar result. Maybe not 4, but the manner of the performance, maybe a 2-0, but a very comfortable 2-0 to Everton, or something along those lines. I just with everything going on, I just can't see us getting anything positive out of that. He might surprise us like he usually does every 6 or 7 games. He'll pop up with a random result, i.e. the PSG one the other week, and but I'm fearing a very comfortable loss, to be honest.
It's weird, isn't it? It's weird what a difference a week can make, because the thing with Ollie is, when he gets his tactics right, he gets them bang on, like spot on. And you saw that against PSG. You saw that against Leipzig. And when he made the changes that he needed to make against Newcastle, it was absolutely fantastic what happened in the last 10, 15 minutes of that game. But I could see it being very uninspired this weekend, but I think Everton are in a little bit of a rut as well. And I'm going to say that it is going to be a 1-1 draw. I could see a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I called it last week when I said it was going to be a very grim game between Newcastle and Everton, and I'm predicting again a very grim game between United and Everton. Both teams, I will be very scared to lose. I genuinely think the game will be decided on a mistake. I don't think there's going to be many moments of magic. I think it's going to be a very tense and tedious game. I mean, I don't know about you two, but I've nearly fallen asleep in the last 2 Premier League games for Man United, especially that Arsenal one. I remember very well, like checking my phone. Like I was on it for most of that first half.
Yeah,
because it was so fucking boring. I could see it being a 1-1, and if it's a very uninspiring 1-1, I can see that being the end for Solskjaer. I really can. I think a 1-1 will do Everton some good. Get a point back on the board. Like I said, Digne and James back, all the waiting then, and then is Richarlison and Coleman. I don't see a scenario where we win though. Like I see them winning or us drawing way more realistic than us going there and winning.
Exactly like I said a minute ago, if we went there and stuffed Everton, I wouldn't be shocked, because every other time Ollie seems to have had his back against a wall, it's happened, and he's pulled a fantastic result out of the bag. But I can see Everton stuffing us as well. I just think with both teams low on confidence with the situations, I've taken a little bit from both of what you've said, and I think it is going to be cagey affair, 1-1.
I think you look at the start of the season, and Everton will be, after 7 games. I don't think Everton would have predicted being 3rd or 4th in the league or whatever it is, 3 points off top. And we certainly wouldn't have predicted 15th.
No.
1 draw, 3 home losses or whatever it is in the first 4 games.
We've got the same home form as Fulham.
Oh, don't. Mate, Fulham are only 3 points behind us.
I know Fulham won the other day. I can't fucking believe it.
Speaking of the top 4 or 5 and teams not being predicted where they go, I'm just going to dot between some of the fixtures this weekend. Tomorrow night, Southampton, Newcastle. Southampton, by the way, bleeding brilliant. What a football team they are to watch at the moment.
But they've lost Danny Ings for a month.
They have. They have indeed.
I think with that, as much as Danny Ings, I think I said that on the last podcast. Their form and Danny Ings' form obviously will be a massive loss, but I also think Danny might have mentioned Che Adams has sort of blossomed a little bit this season as well.
Yeah.
James Ward-Prowse just seems to be banging in free kicks here, there, and everywhere.
Fucking brilliant, weren't they?
He is. He's the English Shunsuke Nakamura, that boy.
What a guy. You know he's still playing?
Fantastic. Fuck off, he's not.
Yeah, he's still playing.
Fuck off, he's not.
I'm deadly serious, he's still playing.
Why are you chatting shit? I'm telling you now, if you just pull something out your ass and it's a lie, I can't trust anything you say anymore.
He's still playing. He's still signed to a club.
Oh my God. How old is he?
Mate, he's 42 years old.
Oh, God. He scored.
There's a guy in the Japanese league who's 53.
He scored. Well, it is the Japanese league.
Yeah.
He scored a goal against us in the Champions League for Celtic in, like, I want to say, like, 2004 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was 35 then.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's fucking insane. I tell you what, go back to the point, Ward-Prowse. I mean, in terms of dead ball specialists, you see him come along every now and again, don't you? I mean, Ward-Prowse for me is a decent player. Like he does he's a neat and tidy midfielder, and he does everything sort of quite well, above average. But he can fucking hit a free kick. Like, you just see it every now and again, don't you? Like the likes of Nakamura, Juninho, if you remember Juninho for
Leon.
Yeah, for Leon. He was a fantastic dead ball specialist. Juan Roman Riquelme, he was fantastic over a set piece.
Don't talk
Jesus, you pulled that one out of the bag there, son.
What a man Riquelme is.
You know.
From the golden era of football, boys, that early noughties, you know the score.
The thing is with Ward-Prowse is he's for years, because like, obviously one of my best friends is a Southampton fan. So we talk about.
I thought you were going to say Ward-Prowse is my best friend now. He's just shiny shirt now.
He's on the podcast next week, boys. Yeah, and we've spoken about Ward-Prowse a lot because every time I seem to watch them, all he did was just laud Ward-Prowse. Oh, he's a set piece specialist. Oh, he's a set piece specialist. And I don't think I've ever seen him score a free kick until just recently. Like, his delivery on corners and crosses is outstanding. But this season, in fact, I'll take it back to last season when he was given the armband. It was midway through the season, Hasselhoff gave him the armband, and he just seems to have developed into a very, very good centre midfielder. There was a point in that Aston Villa game where they were 4-0 up, and I think Romeu was trying to take a really quick throw-in, and he was like, no. Chill the fuck out. It's 4-0. Let's not do anything stupid. And it's like he's maturing into his role now. I didn't see the England squad earlier. Was he part of the England squad today?
I think he was, yeah.
He deserves it. I think he's a great footballer. That dead balls aside, like he's really controlling Southampton games now. His goal against Everton was fantastic. His 2 free kicks against Villa were sensational. Southampton just seem at the moment like they're on absolute fire, and I don't know where it ends.
Yeah, I mean, to me, they seem a very, very solid team at the moment. And like I say, me and Josh predicted this at the start, but you know the form they've carried it on, you know, from the back end of like you said, ever since that 9-0 drumming, they've just been fantastic. And like I say, he's got them playing some really good stuff. I mean, they do that high press for literally 90 minutes. The team's really, really fit. which, you know, has won them, probably won them a lot of games, you know. Yeah, I think they're deserving of where they are, to be honest. I mean, I think they had a dodgy result against Spurs, was it 4-1 or whatever it ended up being?
Just looking at it now, yeah, they lost 5-2 against Spurs and they lost 1-0 on the opening day against Palace. But like, I think you were talking about it last week, Chris, about Brighton and them coming to the season fit, whereas no other team was. I think Southampton were a bit like us, where they didn't start our season fit at all. Maybe it's because of the high pressing stuff like you're talking about, Dale, where the players ran ragged and they needed a bit of time to recover. But after that Spurs result, I mean, I remember that Spurs game very well. For 45 minutes, they were the best team bar none. Like, Spurs didn't have a look in for 45 minutes, and then Harry Kane decided to turn into prime fucking De Bruyne.
He's been unreal this season, Kane, hasn't he?
Yeah.
No, sorry. He hasn't. Let me just speak. I'm just channeling my inner.
No. He's not here today. It's fine. I wanted to talk about that.
Gareth Bale's on me.
Saturday, there's not a lot really going on. Like Palace, Leeds, Chelsea, Sheffield, West Ham, Fulham. No one really cares.
Are we? I think I might have slated Chelsea a few podcasts ago about their defence.
Yeah.
And ever since I've said that, Mendy has kept probably 4 clean sheets in a row since then, maybe. I know he's done 6 in 7 or something like that, or 7 in a row.
I think in 5 games he's conceded none and scored 10.
Yeah. No. What do I know?
Yeah, no, fair play to Frankie. They've got that signing spot on. And Thiago Silva had a shaky start against Palace and a shaky game the game after. But fuck me, he has looked incredible since that game.
Yeah.
He looks outstanding.
You look at Werner as well. Werner's started to pick up. He's bagging goals here now.
Yeah, he is. You're right.
Yeah.
Sunday, boys, we have a few very tasty games. 2:00, Leicester versus Wolves.
Oh, that's a good game, that.
It's a great game, isn't it? Because Leicester currently sat in third, or are they in second? Second, Leicester. Yeah. Only 2 points ahead of Wolves in 6th. 2 informed teams. That could go either way.
It's always going to be Leicester for me.
Yeah.
On current form.
I was going to say a draw.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you think. Like that screams Leicester to me. That tight game, but Leicester win that one.
It does for me. The only thing that is sort of swaying me this way, and we've not seen it yet, but Leicester being in Europe, like Wolves are coming in fresher. Leicester are playing.
It's a fair point, to be fair.
But we haven't really seen European exploits affecting teams yet this season, so probably too easy to say. I reckon Leicester will probably nick it. I reckon it's going to be a very exciting game, though. I think it'll be a very exciting game. And then the one after it, so that's at 2:00. At 4:30, the early title decider, City versus Liverpool.
Oh, you know what? Like, I've forgotten until you've just noticed it. Until you've mentioned it, then like you forget this game is this weekend. Like, yeah. That is a belter of a game. That it really is a fantastic game. That I don't know which way it's going to go. It's
phenomenal. Looking at the last few results: City 4, Liverpool 0, Liverpool 3, City 1, a 1-1, a 2-1, and then a 0-0. Both teams are coming in on winning form. That game could be fucking incredible, you know.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because the problem is Liverpool's defence, but then City haven't got a recognised striker at the moment.
Well, Jesus is back, isn't he?
Is he back now, Jesus?
He scored on Tuesday. But he's not Aguero.
No, this is the thing. He really isn't.
I don't know where that goes. You know.
No, I don't know about you, but I just don't think they're they're both playing their best football at the moment.
No.
I think they're far from it. And for that reason, I'm probably going to go for quite a tight, contested, maybe a draw, 1-1 or something. I can't see either side nicking it. I don't. It's a funny one. Like say, if this was last season, you could probably say there's going to be tons of goals in it, like there was, probably end to end. But I just think the football they're playing both sides. I don't think they're at their best yet.
No.
For one reason or another, and I think it might be a bit of a close one.
I can see this going one of two ways. I can see if Liverpool win, it's going to be a cagey one, like you said. It's going to be like a 1-0 or a 2-1. Or I can see City absolutely wiping the pissing floor with them. Because Liverpool's defence this season has been fucking dreadful.
Yeah, it's not been great, has it?
If Sterling turns up, if Mahrez turns up, if De Bruyne turns up, Trent, Robbo, and Joe Gomez and whoever his fucking partner is it going to be Williams again? Who, don't get me wrong, looked good against West Ham the other night. I think he got man of the match. But what player on his debut doesn't get man of the match these days? It's a fucking fraud award. But they could absolutely wipe the pissing floor with them. And when you said about the team, like neither of them have shown up yet. I think this is the one where City do turn up. I think this is the one that City have been waiting for. They've been battering teams in Europe. They scraped one against Sheffield, didn't they, the other day?
Yeah.
I mean, that Sheffield United is such a weird team to go against at the moment. You don't know which one's going to turn up. They were poor against West Ham. They just about beat City. And I'm sticking with my guns. I'm saying City wipe the pissing floor with Liverpool. I reckon 4-1.
What are you saying, Babs?
I think Danny might have just twisted my arm there a little bit and just put me... Yeah, to be fair, I didn't... Yeah. I think... to be fair, I didn't even think about that defence, to be fair, of Liverpool's. I'll probably go... I'll probably go for a City win then. 2-1. I'll go.
Oh, that's difficult to say because it could go a few ways, but
literally by definition, it could go a win, loss, or draw a few ways.
It could go a few ways, yeah. Just like every other football game. I'm going to say City. And the reason why I'm going to say City is because they're looking a bit better at the back since Diaz has come in.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good sign because on top of Liverpool's defence, and it sounds crazy saying this because Liverpool are top of the league and they smashed it again in Europe the other night, but apart from Jota, Salah and Mane haven't been their usual industrious selves. Firmino's as prolific as ever.
Did you see Klopp was actually questioned about him the other day? And he said, do you have a headache choosing between Jota and Firmino? He was like, no headache. What? Sorry. Firmino should never be starting the way fucking Jota's playing.
Was the rest of that no headache because Firmino was getting dropped for Jota because now Jota's scoring fucking goals every game? They don't look as industrious going forward, do they, Liverpool? So I'm going to say 2-1 City.
Yeah,
I'll even say that.
I think this is the one where City turn up and they start. This is the game where they start mounting the title challenge.
Yes, 100%.
Like just going out to an international break, they're gonna want to make a statement, aren't they?
I'd love a muffin, me now. Right.
Right.
That was almost as bad as Shipman, that.
Yeah, we've dotted all over the league. Let's go through the actual rest of the weekend.
We've guessed Everton and United, haven't we? We said what we wanted for Everton United. So Just remind me, because I'm gonna write all these down and we're gonna start doing it properly. So I said 1-1. What did you say, Danny?
I'm going 2-1 Everton.
Right. No, I appreciate that. It's a good estimation. I like it. Dale, what are you saying, mate? What did you say?
2-0 Everton.
2-0 Everton. And then City, what did you say for City, Danny?
I said 4-1 City.
4-1 City, right. So I'll write that down. And then me and Dale said 2-1. Right, so fuck it. Let's just go from game to game. So,
Sound, yeah. So Brighton, Burnley.
yeah. Brighton, Burnley.
1-0 Brighton for me.
Doesn't scream goals, does it? Really?
No.
So that means 4-0 Brighton. Put them down. No, in all serious, 1-0. 1-0 Brighton.
You both saying 1-0 Brighton, yeah?
Aye.
I'm going to say Brighton, but I'm going to say 2-1. I think there'll be a couple more goals than you were expecting. So I'll say 2-1 Brighton.
I mean, Burnley have got to pick up at some point, haven't they?
Yeah, it's not going well for them, is it?
No.
Southampton, Newcastle.
What did we say? 2-0?
I'm going.
2-0 Southampton.
I think 2-0 Southampton.
I think 2-0 Southampton as well. I just don't think as good as Carl Darlow is at the moment. I just can't see Newcastle scoring goals. It sounds weird that saying that. I've done it because Wilson's got 6 and 7, but half of them are penalties, and they are struggling to score goals outside of him.
Yeah.
So it seems a bit of a foregone conclusion, that, doesn't it?
I just think Southampton are the form team in the league right now.
Yeah.
Right, we've done Everton United. Palace Leeds.
Now, you see, Leeds were showing up a little bit for me in the Leicester game.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to go for Leeds now, because when they faced Liverpool, it was a tight game, and they could have got a result from that game, but it didn't. City, they got a very good result in that game in terms of the 1-1 draw. They've been quite good, solid all season, Leeds, but they really did get spanked by Leicester. Like, it was just a complete and utter domination. It got played off the park, and I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if Bielsa's going to be beating them on the training pitch all week and they're going to bounce back, or whether they're going to have another bit of a flat performance against Palace. And I'm going to go in between, and I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I mean, I think I put it in the group chat. Leeds are a bit hit and miss at the minute. I just can't predict it. I can't put my finger on it. I mean, they got not necessarily results, but the performances against Liverpool and City. But it goes back to, the start of the season, these freakish results and teams not up to scratch, and stuff like that at the minute. So I think they probably played them at the right time, to be honest. And then got brought down to earth a bit with Leicester. I might go Palace here, and I might go 2-1. There's just a bit. They might just be a bit of an awkward team for Leeds to play.
Interesting. I like that. Bit of justification there as well from Dale. All right.
This is such a tough game to call,
Yeah.
Like, they both sat on 10 points. One's 12th, one's 13th. They've both lost the last game but won the game before. Palace, for some reason, I think a lot of us predicted them to go down this season, and they've been all right. Like, they're playing, and they're playing well. Leeds can't defend, but Leeds can attack better than most. Can Palace? Are Palace good enough to break? Like, the thing is, it's not even breaking Leeds down, is it? Because I think any team can attack Leeds.
Yeah.
Can Palace defend against that Leeds attack, though? I mean, they've got no Rodrigo. He's out with COVID.
Yeah, he's been ruled out with the Rona, hasn't he?
Not that he's contributed many goals, but I think his build-up play in the team will be missed. Bamford is the definition of hot and cold. You don't know whether he's going to score a hat-trick or whether he's going to miss a sitter like he did against Leicester. I think you said it right. I think they were humbled in the Leicester game. I think they were really, really brought back down to earth. And that's not to knock Leicester. Like, Leicester were fucking brilliant that game. But if I remember correctly, and I'm going to check the stats now, I think Leeds had more of the ball in that game, if I can remember correctly.
It wouldn't shock me that.
Looking at the stats now, Leeds had 65% possession and lost 4-1.
The thing with Leicester is, and we'll get onto Leicester in a second, obviously, the Wolves game, Leicester are clinical.
Yeah. Well, Leicester won a title on 35% possession.
Yeah.
It's nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, it's what you do. It's it's all right saying that, they had 65% of the ball, but it's where did they have that 65% of the ball?
Also true.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm spending this much time on a fucking Crystal Palace game, if I'm honest. I am going 2-1 Leeds United.
Ooh.
I think Leeds is going to have too much for them. I think they're going to bounce back. Fuck me. Let's never spend that much time on Crystal Palace again.
What Danny meant there was, I just can't go against Leeds United because otherwise I might owe Chris 20 quid.
Let's be honest, mate. There is no chance in hell I'm ever owing you 20 quid in this bet. Especially when we go to Chelsea versus Sheffield United.
5-0 Sheffield United.
Get in.
Tough one for Sheffield United. It's a tough run of games, isn't it? Liverpool, City, and then Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's a tough run now. Trust me, as a United fan, it's a tough run that. We're of a similar stature to Sheffield United. It's tough to pick up points from these games.
Did any of you watch that Sheffield United City game last weekend?
I saw bits of it.
I tell you what, I don't know if he's trying to implement something else wilder, but they tried passing that ball in, and they tried turning it into Arsenal.
I thought that. I
don't know why, but every time they got into the final third, they'd either play it back, across. They never whipped a ball in. I don't know. It just wasn't Sheffield United, especially from last season. And I don't know. This is contributing to why they just can't bag a goal or bag a point or a win. So I can't see anything other than a Chelsea win with this one. I'll probably go about 2-0. But it definitely does seem something different with Sheffield United this season, especially in that final third.
Well, Chris Wilder came out after the game, didn't he? And he was fuming. He was furious because I listened to an interview of him on the radio after the game because I was on the way back from training. And he was furious saying like pretty much along the lines of, I don't know why we're trying to match City, pass for pass, sort of style for style, because it's just never going to happen. City are just far superior than we are on the team sheet on paper. And they were sort of dissecting the game. Now, I listened to half the game, like commentary-wise. Obviously, it's hard to paint a picture when you're not watching it, you're just listening to it. But from what I could hear, and from what I've seen in the highlights since, it's almost like they don't have confidence in the final third. Like, they don't want to even risk playing that final pass or trying that through ball or trying that cross because they're dreading losing possession. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think they're struggling a bit with that at the moment. I think because they're so goal shy, they just don't want to risk losing possession, especially against the bigger teams like City. But I mean, who's last season? McBurney was their top scorer, wasn't he? He scored what, like 7?
I remember saying on the radio he was top scorer with either 6 or 7. Yeah.
They've not got top prolific goal scorers in that team, and they've put an awful lot of faith in the young lad that he's just brought in from Liverpool, whose bloody name escapes me.
Ryan Brewster,
that's it. They put an awful lot of faith in him, and he's got a big price tag and stuff on him, which is, it's out of the norm that for Sheffield United really to splash that much cash on a youngster. But I agree with what you said, Dale. I think if they would have played against City last week the way that they played the entire sort of duration of last season, before the lockdown, obviously, when they were a little bit poor after, I think they would have got a result. And after that long ramble, having said that, 3-0 Chelsea.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was listening to you ramble all that time, and I was just going to reply with 4-0 Chelsea.
4-0? Okay, now.
2, 3 and 4-0. Right.
He's one of them, Danny, isn't it? Like, he heard me say 3-0, he has to go one bigger. I go Tenerife, he goes 11 Tenerife. I've got a 7-inch, he's got an 8-inch. It's just that all the way through, isn't it?
Mate, if you having a 7-inch means I've got an 8-inch, I'll take it. I'm all right with that.
To be honest, that whole example was just trying to get into the conversation that I'm making people believe I've got a 7-inch penis.
West Ham, Fulham. Fulham finally picking up points. West Ham without Antonio.
I mean, who did he play? West Brom?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
That's probably the only 3 points they're getting all season, isn't it?
I was thinking that it could realistically be the only game they win all season.
They still got to play us twice yet.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's West Ham all day, isn't it?
Yeah. It's by how much? Because West Ham in defeat against Liverpool still looked good. I don't know what the hell has happened at West Ham since COVID Moyes appeared, but even in defeat against Liverpool, they still look good. I know me and you had a strong debate about the Jota goal, whether it should have been offside or not. That was the one against West Ham, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it hypothetically, it's a controversial goal that got them the win. I think they've brought in Ben Rama, who is a fucking fantastic signing. Yeah, I'm going short and sweet. 3-1 West Ham here.
I like it. Dale?
Uh, 2-0 West Ham.
I don't know why you felt the need to say West Ham, mate. I knew you didn't mean Fulham. 2-0, and let me specify West Ham. Fulham are that bad that Allaire could get onto the score sheet here.
Let's not be silly.
I mean, am I being silly?
No, you're not.
It's a strong possibility, isn't it? Okay, now. It's West Ham's game to lose, and it's just by how many. I do think they were really unlucky against Liverpool. I think you could argue that both goals were contentious, with the Salah one as well. Klopp can kick off all he wants. It was definitely a dive. You made the most of very, very minimal contact. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a biased, United, I hate Liverpool fan. We've seen it a lot from strikers across the Premier League. We saw a fair few from United's strikers last season. They went down. I'm not a big fan of it, but that's a conversation for another day. I just think West Ham are playing really, really well at the moment, and I think Fulham is just one of those games where it's guaranteed 3 points. 3-1, I'm going to say, because I think Fulham are looking a little bit better going forward with the signings they've made recently. So I'm going to agree with you, Danny.
Good lad. Moving to Sunday, West Brom Spurs. 4-0 Spurs. West Brom haven't got a cat and nails chance. I feel like one of you two are going to pull out a strange fucking prediction right now.
No, I'm looking at Dale, and Dale's like, how many goals are Tottenham Hotspur going to score?
Yeah, obviously, I think Spurs win the game. 3-0.
I like it. West Brom were just beaten 2-0 last week by Fulham.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 5-0 Spurs.
And let's be honest, lads, it probably could be more. I think we're being generous with the 3, 4 and 5-0s there.
Well, the worst team in the league is us, and they put 6 past us. And Fulham are the next to worst, so I'm going to say 5.
It's a fair shout.
Good logic.
Game of the weekend for me, I think Leicester versus Wolves.
Flying under the radar, this, because of City and Liverpool.
Yeah. I can't call this, genuinely, you know.
It's difficult, isn't it? 2-1 Leicester. I can't call this yet. It's difficult, isn't it? 2-1 Leicester.
He's put his money where his mouth is. I love it.
I think this has got draw written all over it. 1-1.
Okay.
I don't know whether to be different here now. To complete the trifecta of potential results, I'm going 2-1 Wolves.
If I can ask, what makes you think, with Leicester's recent results as well, what makes you think Wolves? Because I don't think Wolves have been spectacular at all this season.
And I said this in a podcast that I don't think Wolves have been spectacular this season. They're sat in 6th. They've had the best start to a season in 40 years. Leicester have just played. Leicester still have injury problems. They've got no Soyuncu, they've got no Castagna, no Johnny Evans, no Pereira, no Ndidi. That is big problems to have.
Indeed.
We covered City Liverpool, didn't we?
I'm ashamed.
I'm not even continuing with that game after that fucking remark. I'm not even continuing. No, Wolves to me are. I think Wolves are a big X factor this season. With not being in Europe, I think we said it a couple of weeks ago. They've spent big this season, and they really have spent big.
Yeah.
And they're not in Europe, and they're clicking and they're firing. I think they're going to go under the radar a lot this season because no one's paying attention to them. Everyone expects them to be hovering in 6th because that's the team that Nuno's built there now, and I think they're going to be a cunt to deal with. Like, to put it nicely, I really think they're going to be a horrible team, and I just think Leicester's injuries and the fact that they played tonight, and also for the sake of being different, I think that's why I'm going with Wolves.
Yeah, I think if you look back at a couple of weeks ago, they played Leeds away, and again, I think Leeds had a lot of the ball, and I think away from home, Wolves are quite comfortable with that. Yeah. They don't mind having any of the, but if the other team, home team's got plenty of the ball, don't bother them whatsoever. Which I think will be the case here with Leicester. I think Leicester will have plenty of the ball, and I think Wolves they won't mind that whatsoever.
And that's an interesting fact because I don't think Leicester are comfortable with the ball. I think Leicester like being the team to counter-attack. I don't think Leicester are comfortable in possession. I think they like getting the ball, getting it to someone like Tielemans and releasing Vardy instantly. And if Wolves can nullify that by being the team that Leicester want to be, like I think Leeds, I think not Leeds, I think Wolves could really. I genuinely think Wolves will win that game. I really do.
You look at, you go back to Leicester when they got stuffed West Ham at home.
Yeah.
Same scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Leicester had plenty of the ball. West Ham just sat back, said, "There, you do what you want with it." Got
They're
caught.
a bit like in the way, aren't they?
Yeah, got caught 2 or 3 times on the counter.
Yeah.
And lost 3-0.
They're a bit like us. When teams sit back, they don't really know how to break it down. When teams attack them, they know exactly how to break it down.
Yeah. Well, I said it a few podcasts back about Leicester. There's a specific way that they like to play because their focal point is Jamie Vardy.
Yeah.
And Jamie Vardy's not the sort of striker who thrives for a team who has the majority of possession and likes to make those intricate sort of tiki-taka passes and then little through balls here and there. He's not a footballer, Jamie Vardy. He's a speed merchant with a fantastic finish. That's always been his strength. So it is always going to be counter-attacking football. So, yeah, I do think it could go that way. I think if Wolves sit back and say, all right, come on then, like, it could go that way. But I can't see Wolves doing that, to be honest. I think it's going to be a bit of a slobber knocker of a game. Like, they'll both have a go. I think Leicester have just proved to me this season that they're slightly better on form and they're slightly more prolific, which is why I've gone the way I've gone. But I could see it going, now that you've justified it, Danny, I could see it going 2-1 Wolves.
And that's for me why it's game of the weekend, as far as I'm concerned. Like it's being completely overshadowed by City and Liverpool, which could be very cagey. And I mean, I know I predicted City winning 4-1, but it could very easily be the other way around. You've got 2 attacking teams there that also work well on the counter attack, and it's just a really interesting dynamic between Leicester and Wolves. And if I remember, I can't remember what the last results were. Oh well, I should not have looked at that. The 3 of the last 5 results have been 0-0.
No, I can't see it being that sad.
One of them was a 4-3, so we'll look at that one instead.
Yeah, I can see it being that sort of game, to be honest. But we'll stick to the 3 goals each, like we've gone. Babs, you've gone one more. Last game of the weekend?
The last game of the weekend, because we've covered City, Liverpool, is Arsenal versus Villa.
The last time these 2 teams played, I seem to recall end of last season, and it was one of the big games that, ended up in Villa staying up. It was 1-0.
Trezeguet scored a screamer.
Good goal.
Great goal. Villa have looked shaky recently. I think they started the season very well. I think they've lost the last 2, if I'm not mistaken. But they are level on points with Arsenal right now. They're both sat on 12. Aston Villa do have a game in hand. Do you know what? This is another one that I could see going either way.
Arsenal are, and we'll say it on here because we've been saying it in the group, but Arsenal have been getting all the plaudits in the world over the last week about, the performance against Man United was fantastic and all the rest of it. Let me make this abundantly clear. Arsenal won 1-0 and it was a penalty. If Arsenal never got that penalty, they were never scoring. They're just not clinical. I said it last week. We all said it last week. They're absolutely woeful going forward, Arsenal, at the moment. I don't know what's going on with Aubameyang. He is just bollocks. Lacazette is bollocks. They just have no goals coming from anywhere unless they're playing 4th place in the Irish Premier League. Now, when it came to our game the other day, I think that was more how poor we were rather than how good Arsenal were. And I agree with you, Danny. You said last night that there was a couple of good performances for Arsenal, mainly Partey. Thomas Partey had a great game.
Yeah.
But I just think we were absolutely shocking. And I think it more speaks volumes that Arsenal could only beat us with a penalty for how bad we were than anything that Arsenal did spectacularly, if that makes sense.
I don't think Arsenal won that game. I think United.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, I think. And if you watch Villa now, I know Villa went 4-0 down against Southampton, but fucking hell, it almost took 4 goals to make Villa wake up. And if you watch the last 20 minutes of that game, Villa were all over him like a rash.
Oh, brilliant.
They were fantastic. Ended up being what looked like a competitive scoreline in the end. If that Villa turns up, I think Arsenal are getting smashed. I'm going to say 3-1 Villa.
Oh, he's gone there. He has gone there. Wow.
I don't know how you follow up with that.
I know, I was waiting for you to speak then.
I'll be honest, I've got a completely different opinion. I think this is the game. Aubameyang comes back to form. I think Arsenal are gonna absolutely slate these 3-0.
Dale, I'm embarrassed.
I don't even like Arsenal. They're shite, but I don't know. So much just saying this game's just going to go one way.
Dale, I'm embarrassed for you. Like, you know, you're so wrong. Like, but bless you. Like, you go out on your shield, mate.
And I am going to cut you both right down the middle. 0-0. I see Emi Martinez returning to the Emirates and causing them a fucking nightmare.
You know what, Babs, right? We've been quite outlandish with all the other games. Like, you know, I'm looking at my sheet here and we've gone 3-0s and 5-0s here, there and everywhere. Danny's been exactly the same, and it's come to the last game, and he's put a 0-0 down for Arsenal and Aston Villa. And do
you want to know why? Because I see them cancelling each other out completely. I see them completely cancelling each other out. I think they're both teams that are all right. That's what they are. They're all right. Like, you've got a couple of outstanding players, but those outstanding players cancel each other out. Grealish and Partey cancel each other out. Aubameyang and Martinez cancel each other out. Lacazette is doing fuck all. He is Arsenal's hype man. He's not a striker. He's just there to be part of the celebrations.
I feel they've got a left hand side there, Arsenal, which could cause problems in Kieran Tierney.
Kieran Tierney is a brilliant footballer.
Yeah,
and Aubameyang. I think that left hand side could cause issues.
Yeah, I agree. But I just think I'm looking at Barkley and Grealish together. I'm looking at Ollie Watkins, who will attack Arsenal's defence more than Marcus Rashford did, let's be honest. Because I think Villa are going to play with a bit more freedom, and I think Arsenal are going to play with more freedom. I don't think they're going to attack. They're going to defend against Villa, because why would they? They're going to go for the kill.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I do think it plays in Dean Smith's hands. But I could see it being a battle of the goalkeepers. I can see the weekend ending on a boring 0-0. If I'm going to edge a team to win it, I am going to go Arsenal. But I'm sticking with my draw, and I am sticking with 0-0.
Yeah, you know, if Arsenal win it, where's the goal coming from?
A penalty.
Saka. I think Aubameyang returns to form.
I could very well see what you're saying, Dale. I could very well see Aubameyang banging about 5 this weekend.
I think that penalty will just give him a bit of a lift. I think that was his first goal in five games, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
Along those lines. Lacazette, well, he usually does shit away from home anyway, so we're expecting much of him against us. Different player when he's at home.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at Arsenal now, And they scored the penalty against us, and this isn't counting the Europa League, because Europa League there just seems to be a different team. They won 4-1 again tonight, didn't they, against Molde? Yeah. They couldn't break Leicester down. They couldn't break City down, which I know City. Fair enough. Give you the buy on that. Sheffield United. I watched the Sheffield United game. It wasn't a great game at all. And the two people that scored for them, Saka and was it Pepe who scored the second for Arsenal in that game? I'm sure against Sheffield United. Yeah,
it was Saka and Pepe.
Yeah, they have all of a sudden been demoted to their Europa League team. Like Saka, all right, he's flirting around the first team and stuff now. Arsenal they're not scoring a lot of goals. Like, going back on their results again here. Was it Leicester they had before that again in the cup? No, it was Liverpool. So Liverpool wiped aside easily, no worries. They looked good against Fulham on the first day. They beat West Ham 2-1 when West Ham still had a full in-health David Moyes before he got COVID, so that doesn't count.
Yeah.
They've just not. They've got nothing going forward. There's just nothing. I don't know where the goals are coming from. And Villa haven't been, a bad side all season. It does worry me a bit that Villa have been shipping goals left, right and centre the last couple of games, but I can't see Aubameyang coming back to form.
Incoming Aubameyang coming back to form.
I cannot wait to take him out of my fantasy team this weekend and him bang 5 goals.
I took him out after about, was it week 2? I'd done the first 2 weeks, and then I saw the fixture list. He had City, Liverpool, Oz. I thought, yeah, he's coming out. He's not getting any goals there.
No. Speaking of fantasy, Dale, you have had an absolute shocker, mate. You were top of the league, and now you've slipped to 4th.
I'm only about 4 points off the lead.
You are 4 points off the lead, but let's over-exaggerate and talk to you about what the hell's going on.
And do you know why that is? I did a cheeky extra transfer that I shouldn't have done. That's why.
Oh dear.
Do you know who got the most game week points in the whole of the league, though?
You.
It was me. Believe it or not. And do you know where I am, mate?
3rd last.
I'm
4th
last, mate. I've had an absolute shocker. I've made that many transfers and stuff. No, talking about the Fantasy League, and we'll shut off in a few minutes. This is going to be a right bumper podcast, this. We've just been at it all night, haven't we?
Oh, aye.
We've got Daniel Norman, Tom Smiles and Tom Walker top 3, but the top 4, including you, Dale, is very close. You're talking 415 to 411, and then it's a sharp drop-off to Josh in 5th. He's 20 points behind.
I'm going to make a bold prediction now. Norman will not let go of that top spot for a long time.
Reckon?
He's one of my best mates who I was living in China. He is a fantasy football mad kind of guy. He is on it. I think it's going to be you and Babs. Like you, Babs, and him going for it for the rest of the season. Now he's at the top, he'll stay there for a while.
You say that, mate, but he had Martinez in there last week who conceded 4 goals. He knows fuck all.
Well, I've not played my triple captain yet. I've still got that card to pull.
Neither have I, and I cannot wait to play it on someone who Pep Guardiola brings on for 5 minutes on the end of the game.
Dickhead. Hey, listen, in all seriousness, it's Daniel Norman. He's got a good team there, and he's picking wisely. I mean, Jorginho knows for a fact he's Chelsea's penalty taker.
Oh, mate, I texted him the other day talking about fantasy football, and he was like, honestly, I'm tempted to just throw a load of penalty takers in my team.
I would, with the way VAR's going this season. I honestly would. What's interesting is the differences in team. Like, his team is completely different to everyone else's team in the top 4. Like, all your teams are completely different. Like, Babs, you've gone for goal scorers. People that you know are going to bag a goal here and there in the league. Where he has very much gone, this Daniel Norman at the top, for strong defenders who assist a lot, and then penalty takers pretty much. The only person I say he's gone for, or the people I say he's gone for who score outright, would be Grealish, Son, and Kane.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. That I'm looking forward to seeing
He's gone for a very bold tactic, and I told him that when I texted him the other day. In fact, no, we were on FaceTime when we were talking about it, and I was like, mate, so you've gone bold here, and he was like, trust me, the way the penalties are going this season, I can see it coming a mile off. And you know what? Fair play. So far, it's paid off for him.
Well, he can't get too comfortable. He's only 107 points ahead of me, so he's going to have to keep his wits about him. But he's looking pretty good at that.
Only about 400 points ahead of Lee.
Mate, Lee is shocking. Where's Lee? Is Lee bottom?
Lee's only, 12 points behind you?
I mean, Lee's 12 points behind me, and bottom of the league on 268 points is Rob Fisher. Now, I don't know who Rob Fisher is, but you might just leave it for the rest of the season, mate. I wouldn't bother.
Do you know the one that annoys me the most is the fact that I had to basically make Josh's team for him. I had to beg him to make a team, convince him to make a team. The man sat in 5th.
It's not bad.
And I don't mean 5th, the teenage nightclub in Manchester. I mean near the top of the table.
Good lad. I'm having a look at yours here, Danny. Conser in defence. Now, what exactly the fuck were you thinking there?
I'll be honest, mate. It was when Liverpool were doing when Villa were doing half decent, and I will also be honest again. I might have forgotten about fantasy football over the last 2 weeks.
Mate, you've got someone called Meslier in that. Who's that?
Mate, Meslier is the Leeds keeper. He's sick.
Is he? I don't know who the fuck that is.
Mate, keeping clean sheets. Well, he was keeping clean sheets galore.
Fucking keeping clean sheets. Behave.
All right, let me rephrase that. Leeds' defence is that bad. He's getting the save points.
Okay, now. Oh, right. Now that I've seen a picture of him, I recognise him.
Yeah, with the keepers, it's hard because no one's keeping clean sheets.
No.
So you need a cheap keeper that's making saves. So I was like, right, Leeds defence is shit. He faces loads of shots.
Oh, it's fucking wank, isn't it? It is going to be difficult this season because it is a very different season because of VAR. And it was exactly the same when it come off lockdown last season. The other thing that makes it different is no fans in the stadiums. So it'll be interesting to keep hold of that. But it looks like there's a top 4 starting to pull away already. Dale's our last hope of not costing us any money.
Come on, Dale. We haven't got the money to ship to China. You've got to beat Norman.
Dale, I don't even have the money to pay for my mortgage, mate. So, I'm counting on you here.
Just getting warmed up, mate. Just getting warmed up.
On that note, lads, Bumper Podcast. Thank you very much.
Cheers, boys. Pass that one.
It was a good one, that.